Hi, how are you? My name is Willie Pleasant. I'm an author and poet, and I'm your host. Welcome to Willie's Web, where everyone has a story. And my show today is The Beat Goes On. And what I mean by that is life goes on. No matter what you do, whether you do it good or bad, life goes on. So why not do it the correct way? I have on my show, I have two guests today. Brenda Sue, she's an author. Kemp Harris, who is a singer-songwriter extraordinaire. So they're going to share their experience with you. Hopefully you will learn something to help you live a better life. First, I'm going to do Willie's Moment. Yay! It's Willie's Moment. And in Willie's Moment, I have tips. And my tip today is for the seniors. Seniors, get your discount, because you know we are on fixed income, so we need all the discounts we can get. So there are lots of discounts out there. Hotels, movies, Dunkin' Donut. I get my discount every day. I get a cup of coffee. Salvation Army, grocery store. But you have to ask. You have to ask for your discounts. All right. Now, there's another. This is for other people. Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau, it still exists. I didn't think it did. It started in 1912, but it still exists. And don't wait until you have a problem to call them. Call them before. Now, they have a workshop that's called Alert. It's called Scam Alert. And we get scammed every day. And there are those craziest scam places. Think about this. People, when you're standing in line getting your grocery, look behind you. Everybody's always taking pictures. There are people who will take a picture of your credit card and they'll use that. So just be aware of people that's standing behind you. I didn't really think about that. And banks. When you go to the bank, always check your bank slip, because it's paperless now, so it's easy for them to make a mistake. They made a mistake on me, like a $100 mistake. So you need to really check your bank statements when they come into your house and your credit card statements. Definitely check that. Well, I hope these tips have been educational for you, and I hope that you were able to get something out of them. And now I want to just give tribute to Women's History, because today, this month is Women's History Month, and I wanted to do a little tribute to you guys out there. Here's my poem. There is no mystery about women's history. Women are the other creation of mankind, expected to walk behind, have babies, cook, and never use their minds. For years, women have been discriminated against, even denied certain opportunities. But it wasn't long before they became bold and struggled for more of life's control. Women like you deserve respect. You deserve to be appreciated. For if there were no women, the world would not change. If there were no women, the earth would be kind of strange. If there were no women, there would be more strife. If there were no women, there would be no life. Thank you, and that was Willie's Moment. And we're going to come back with an exciting show, so you don't want to go anywhere. Stay right there. My name is Willie Pleasant, and you're in the web. You're trapped, actually. Can't go anywhere. Don't turn that channel. All right, my first guest, Sue.
Brenda Sue.
Sue. As an only child, she began writing at an early age, oftentimes skipping her high school classes, which we probably all did, to attend journalism class. We didn't do that, at Boston University with her friends. She was a single mom raising 4 daughters while establishing a career as an electrologist, an esthetician. For 32 years, she had a large day spa. She has written murder mysteries, comedy, dance theater, dinner theater shows. She has taught art to children and adults, and she has traveled the world looking at museums.
Yeah.
Museums. I want to introduce to you Brenda Sue.
How are you, Willie?
Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me.
So listen, tell me, and I'm fascinated, what got you started in writing?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I had a great imagination and creativity. And I didn't know how to let it all out. And my boyfriend at the time, Harvey Robbins, was going to Boston University. He was the big boy, almost 4 years older than I was. And I would skip school and go to his creative writing and journalism classes at Boston University. And then I just continued going there and writing all books. And then I got into a bad marriage. Harvey and I broke up, and I married someone, and it was actually as a catharsis, my first book, Web of Deceit.
Web of Deceit, yeah.
And it was an excellent, excellent way of me getting rid of my anger, my hurt, and the abuse, because I was an abused woman. And, but I wanted to make it in Boston because I knew all about Boston. I was raised in Dorchester and born in Dorchester. And I wanted to be able to have people get excitement. I'm an avid reader myself. And I decided to make this Metamorphosis series part of Boston. And I have Suzanne Morse and Nancy Tremblay as the two heroines that just happen to own a day spa on Newbury Street in Boston. And I just started creating a scenario. And Metamorphosis novels is about changing a person, how people can change themselves and become better people for it. And at the first of my books, there's always either something from Maimonides, or if it's going to be an Asian Oriental theme from some other religion. And I want that to be part of the book. The first one, Web of Deceit, has Maimonides, and it's very, very interesting. Beyond Murder also does, and that's just a continuation of the series.
Part two, right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I have a third book coming out. And these are my two fiction books, and I also wrote my nonfiction book.
Okay.
And I didn't expect to ever write nonfiction books, and I love them.
Yeah.
And it was because they called me up and they said, "We heard that you're a great writer." And that's how I started in on it.
Talk about developing, because we have an audience of probably writers and people who are thinking about starting.
Everyone has a story within themselves.
Yes. So how did you kind of develop the story? Because it is loosely based
On my life.
on your life.
Loosely, very loosely based. Because everyone has dreams and aspirations, and I'd love to become a millionaire. And Suzanne Morse does become a millionaire after being abused and having, humiliated, and all bad things happened to her, and she decided she was going to do something about it and get out of her situation.
Right.
And she did. She went back to school and made something of her life, and she raised 3 children. I honestly have 4 daughters. But my youngest one, who I live with, always says to me, "Why didn't you put me in the novel?" Well, I didn't. And but it was great. It took a long time.
You put him in the second one, right?
No, it's always the 3 girls. Always the 3 girls. And but it's really a terrific opportunity to research, and I love to research.
Yeah. Now, did you find writing? Because I'm kind of targeting the writers, because I know a lot of writers, and I joined the Writers Union, and people always ask me how you get started. Now, because it's loosely based on your life, it was easy to tell that story. Did you find it difficult sharing your story with?
No, that part I didn't find difficult. The only part that I found difficult was adding things to it. Everyone has a story to tell, but what happens after that? So that's why I wanted to write the stories in the series of novels. And I had them owning a day spa on Newbury Street, and she gets involved with her clients, which I always do. But it's very, very interesting, and I wanted to decide what kind of books I wanted to write. I love to read mystery, murder, thriller, suspense, family drama, and estrangements. Every family has estrangements and drama in it. I don't care if you come from a family, you have drama and estrangements.
Absolutely.
And so I brought that into it, and it goes more into Beyond Murder, because the first one has to do how the characters interrelate with each other, and how they get to know each other and they help each other out. And I always have gay people, believe it or not, because I'm an electrologist by profession, and I always worked on gay people and removed their hairs and stuff like that. So I always have a gay couple in the series. And the first one is about white-collar crime, drug abuse, and how the characters relate to one another, and how they help out in the situation with the FBI. I did a lot of research. I found I had some patients that were FBI agents, and I asked them how they go about it. Pharmaceutical companies. How can I go about, in this one, Beyond Murder, how can I go about drugging someone?
Yeah.
To get them out, because this one has to do with international art theft, and it took place at the Huntington Museum in California in San Marino. And then at that time, the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum got robbed, and I brought that into it. So
I think that was an inside job, they say.
There it was. It was. And so it's very interesting, and you have to have a very vivid imagination and be creative.
Yeah.
And I loved Boston. I still love Boston, and I live in and around it. And that's what I made my
Now, where
thing.
did you find time to write?
I made time.
You made time.
I made time. I would stay up till all hours of the night writing. Like I used to teach art to people, and I would stay till all hours painting.
Okay.
And that's how I did that.
Okay. Talk about Jack and Jill. The Jack and Jill book I thought was a little strange, but it's some crazy stories in there.
But it's all true, and that's the part that really, was really crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing today something that Tina, the woman, who her real name was Neil, and how she was born with 2 absolute different hormones. And she called me up and she said, I heard you're a good writer. Would you be interested in doing my story? And at first I thought, well, this is so unlike me. But I found them fascinating. And she actually had 19 electroshock therapy treatments.
Wow.
And she was hospitalized 19 times for depression.
Wow. And it's
as Neil, as when she was a man.
But she was struggling with, and I'm like, I can't.
You can't. A lot of people cannot relate to it, but other people can relate to it who have people that are transgenders in the family, and that's becoming a now topic of conversation. She was really ahead of her time, because she's 70 years old now. Her and her husband got married in New Hampshire, and it was annulled, and it was made that 2 gay men were married, and it's so sad because they're still with each other, and they got remarried again. But they have pictures in there of when she was
I saw the pictures in there.
Yeah, and if you ever met her, you would never think that she was a man at one time.
And she struggled with that throughout.
Oh, she was the 3rd boy born to a French-Canadian family. And it was awful.
Wow, and when I was reading it, I'm thinking, this can't be, it is real. And then when I see the picture, I'm like, yeah, it is real.
Her mother begged the schools to not have her take gym classes because he was developing breasts.
Like the breasts, yeah.
And you saw that in
there. Even before the development looked like.
Yeah, even before, she never had to take. The doctor in New York said, how could you not be on hormones? And she said, I never took a hormone in my life.
So imagine how that is, trying to be a man, being a woman.
And she had a lot of dysfunction in the family, too, because she was dyslexic and she was hard of hearing. So it was very difficult.
So is there something you wanted to share with us?
No, I just wanted to let you know that the metamorphosis takes place, and it takes a woman and brings her into dignity and integrity, and she no longer has to have the abuse and humiliation that she once had. And so many other people in this world can have that too, if they really want to change for themselves. And metamorphosis means change. And it really does. And men can change, women can change. Every person in their life has a story within them, and they can let it out. And that's what I'm here for, is to share my story in the web of deceit, but I added a little bit of
twist to it. I'm like,
to make it.
Susanna, gotta be her. I'm like,
and it was.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay, and then I found out who else is the other.
And you found out that it was Harvey. Yeah, no, he was I was 12 and a half, and he was a big boy of almost 16 years old.
Wow.
And yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Now, how did your family, your girls, was it hard releasing your...
No.
No.
Because at first, my oldest daughter still hasn't read it because she was abused. And she still doesn't want to admit it, and it's hard for her. But the other girls all read it, and they loved it.
Now, did you know when it was going on? Because in the book...
Well, it was more of my abuse. My first husband abused me, physically and mentally.
And then I noticed that when he started on the kids, it was like, no, I can't.
I couldn't take that, and that's when I decided to change, and I had to have a plan of action. And that's the most important thing, is a plan of action.
For women who are abused. To have a plan of action.
Right.
What would you suggest to them that you did that?
You have to be realistic and set realism. Set realistic goals for yourself and your family and your children. And I know that my parents couldn't financially help me, so I had to play act, and not let him know anything about it. And I just went about my plans and made my plans, and then I said, see you later, alligator, and he cried like mad, and I said, I can't help it. This is the way it's going to be. I'll never hit you again. They're the famous...
Oh, of course, yeah. But did you seek? Did you feel you had to seek counseling, or
no?
What do you
but
suggest?
You know when I cried,
because people will read the book, and I went through reading it, and I felt the writing of it was so emotional. I think people who are going through that will start to feel that emotion is like, oh my God.
With each book, you become a better writer.
Yeah.
And I didn't let out any emotions until I was out of the marriage, and I saw the House of Hope, and they were having a raffle, and then that's for abused women and families, and I started crying. And when I owned a day spa, I made it my mission to go to the House of Hope when I was through with the marriage and everything. And I helped the people. I would have them come into the spa, and I was the only one there. I would make sure, I had a lot of people working for me at the time. They wouldn't do it for nothing. I paid for it myself. And I had them get facials, massages, really took care of them. I taught them how to act and dress and makeup for an interview. And it was very important for me as a person inwardly to feel this kind of happiness that I was giving of myself to these people and making them feel that they are special.
So you felt like you were giving back,
yeah,
in such a way
yes.
that have you ever come across anyone that ever that has read your book and? Yes,
I've gotten excellent reviews, and that's what makes me want to continue it, because the reviews that I've received have been wonderful, and the people, my readers, get to the point where they enjoy the characters. A lot of the characters continually come back, and they get attached to the characters. And I sort of make some of my characters of people that I've known, like Mrs. Walsh was in the book, and she became a housekeeper. Well, I adored my best friend's mother, and she was an Irish woman with the twinkling blue eyes, and I just loved her. And I said, that's going to be my Mrs. Walsh. And I made Mrs. Walsh from Sandy Walsh, my girlfriend. I gave her that last name. Oh. And I do a lot of that. Like my grandkids want to be in my next novel. And I said, okay, I'll put your names in the next novel. And they're just so thrilled that there's going to be their names in it, and people enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk about the publishing part of it, because I have a lot of people that want to know about the publishing side of it, how
Harvey and
difficult.
I first started our own publishing business years ago, and that's when Web of Deceit first came out. But then I decided to go with a publishing company, and first edition I fell in love with Deborah Gordon. She was wonderful. She still is a good friend of mine. I spoke to her today, and she helped me tremendously with both books and with Jack and Jill. And I have a friend of mine, Bob Nason, with a children's book, and I said, you have to go to Debbie. And he did, and he's very pleased with it.
Oh, good.
So it's really
So,
good.
so you did have a publishing company to
Yes,
do
First
it.
Edition Design and Publishing.
Oh, very good.
And they're the ones that made the
Designing.
the design. They had me do a postcard,
Okay. Oh.
and that people can, just call me up and ask for it. And it's www.metamorphosisnovels.com.
On it
And
to get in touch with
and
you.
And I have my own website. They made me a website,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's wonderful.
Now, marketing, do you have to do your own marketing?
And I hate marketing. Harvey is always telling me, Brenda, you have to market the books. Before you write any more, market. I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But I know it has to be done. And so I do it. And don't forget, I'm doing the fiction and the
Right.
nonfiction. So it's very difficult for me. And I'm starting, and I'm 3/4 of the way done with my other novel as part of this one, of the Metamorphosis series. And I love it.
So, but you don't like the marketing.
I
yeah.
hate the marketing
Now, which
end of
book
it.
you think you feel that the
This one was more of my life story.
Mm-hmm.
This one is completely
fiction?
fiction, but I did go to the San Marino, the Huntington Museum, and that's what gave me the idea. Just like with my third book that I'm going to be writing, The Vacation of a Lifetime, I got an article about the New Age pirates. And my cousin, who just died of cancer a couple of months ago, I had her experience. And anyone that has a family knows, I think, someone else or a family member, someone that has cancer. And that brought that subject deep into my heart. And so I added that to my third novel. And so it's really, and the girls, Suzanne and Nancy, go through hell and back in this Beyond Murder. And they're trying to relax, and Suzanne's daughters give them a present of going on vacation of a lifetime to the South China Seas. And it's really fun.
Cool.
It really is.
Very good. This is my question about your, where do you find time to travel?
I have to tell you, Harvey loves boats and
So you work
cruises.
because that job must have took up a lot.
It took a lot
of time.
It did.
But to travel, you talk about your museums, and because people think that they don't have time for these, and that's
But
why
you
my
do.
question is,
You have
it's
to
like
make
writing.
the time.
You have to make the time
time.
if you're really interested in doing something,
Right.
whatever it is,
Right.
and it's a sacrifice.
It is, because believe me, sometimes I didn't want to leave my patients because I don't want them to start braiding their hair on their faces, but or on their bodies. But it's nice to be able to get away, forget all their problems, because I keep it in here, and you can't tell anyone else about it. But they talk to you. It's like a beautician. Like when you go to a beautician, you tell them all your troubles.
Like the
Better than a
bartender.
yeah. It's like a psychologist, So I know a lot of problems evolve, and I try to tell them what I think would be the best thing for them to do or not to do. And if people listen to other people's suggestions, and it happens to be the same suggestions, wouldn't that make sense to do it? But I bring a lot of problems into the books, and I always have themes. Like Beyond Murder is international art theft, but it's about adoption, and always the gay couple. And this one is coming out of the closet because he's married to a woman, but he's really a closet gay. And how does that happen? And in this one, it's her artist friend is a gay person, and
what's attracted to the characters?
I make up the characters as I want to. I never have a plot theme, because sometimes you want to change, and if you're going by a certain plot, you can't change it.
Right.
But here I can change it if I want to. And I'm such an avid reader. You can ask Javi. I mean, he'll be sound asleep, and I'll say, another 5 or 10 minutes, I'll shut the lights off. And I just want to read. I just love to read.
That's
and
good.
I become a writer now, and I feel just as good as any of the other writers. I think I'm even better than some of them.
But you have a message.
I have a message where that a person can change. That's why it's called the Metamorphosis novels. Is a person can change if they want to. If they really have that drive and desire, they can become anything that they want, but they have to have it within themselves.
And you have it. Did your mother?
No.
No?
I mean, she was a worker. She always worked because she wanted to have a house. But my whole family is very artistic. On my dad's side, and I have a cousin that's a writer, and my other cousins were artists, and I taught art for many years. And that's what I think I conveyed with Beyond Murder, is the art, the love of art.
Love of art, because you travel. We have a couple minutes left. I can't believe time's going so fast. Is there something you would like to say to the audience or share?
I just hope that you get in contact with me. And it's Brenda Sue at Brenda Sue 2 at charter.net or .com, whichever. And it's all small letters, and I love to answer all the emails, and I love to get them. Are you
appearing somewhere you would like to?
I'm having a book magazine on the Boomer Times and Senior Life in Florida, of all places.
Nice.
And I hope to appear at some of the Barnes & Nobles around the area.
And people who are actually writers who are hooking up, how did you manage? Is it through your publishing company that you got the hookup, or?
No, again, marketing. That's how I got it.
Just contact,
and
talking to people. That's how I met you. I met you through someone else that says, she's a great writer, you should have her on our show. I'm like, okay.
That's right.
And I just went to a union meeting, and you hook up with all kinds. So networking great
is
opportunity
immense.
to network.
That's right, it is.
And definitely for you. Anything else you like to?
Well, I just hope that people start reading the books.
Definitely.
And I just love it. That's all I can tell you.
Great book. Web of Deceit.
Thank you,
And Jack in Jill. Not an easy climb.
And it wasn't for her.
It wasn't. It's a great book to read.
Absolutely. One of my readers said it was bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
And that's a great way to say it.
Yeah.
But the other ones, really, you don't want to put down. I have some people that said, I can relate to these characters, and I read the whole night. I mean, my husband almost killed me, she said. And because I just enjoy reading the book so much.
Thank you.
Willie, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on my show.
Standing your ground, standing your ground. Another mother's son lying dead on the ground. When searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black boy murdered, standing your ground. Ooh. Hey, hey. Oh, ooh, hey. Late one evening, about 9:45, black boy went to market for some candy, and then wrong place, wrong time, and the gunshot sound. The defendant told the jury he was standing his ground. Standing your ground, standing your ground. Another mother's son is lying dead on the ground. When searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black boy murdered, standing your ground. Ooh. Oh. Black boy, why you wanna play your music so loud? Man said he felt threatened, shot the black boy down. Just imagine how it would feel if this was turned around. It was your son murdered 'cause of standing your ground. Standing your ground, standing your ground. Another mother's son lying dead on the ground. Went searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black boy murdered, standing your ground. Ooh. Oh, well, oh. Big man, big gun, big ego to fill. He don't even need a reason, got a license to kill. How many till we come around? Another black boy is murdered, standing your ground. Standing your ground, standing your ground. Another mother's son is lying dead on the ground. When searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black boy is murdered, standing your ground.
All right. Woo! Woo! All right. And we're going to talk to Kemp Harris in one moment. We're going to talk to him in one moment. I have an announcement that I need to tell you about that's happening this, and you just missed the first segment. The first segment was about Brenda Sue, and she had 3 books that she published called metamorphosnovels.com. Check her out, metamorphos.com. Please check her out. And they are great books. I read them. Excellent. There are 2 announcements. Uppin's Corner Library, number 2nd annual poetry open mic. Open mic for all ages. Sing, poetry. It's April 17th, 5:30 starting, and Aaron Devine is the MC. So poetry has to be clean, and it has to be your original work, or you can read somebody else's, but you got to say who it is. So come down to the Uppin's Corner Library, 500 Columbia Road. Check it out. Check it out, 617-265-0139. There's a workshop called For People Who Want to Publish Your Work, called Working with Create Space. So you'll learn how to master that software. It's April the 26th from 10 to 1, 157A Washington Street, Dorchester, sponsored by the Friends of the Uppin's Corner Library. The teacher is Alberta Sequeira, and the number is the same as the library, 617-265-0139. And the website's there. So check that out for you authors who are looking to self-publish, find cheaper ways of doing it, keep retaining your rights. You definitely want to check that workshop out. Now, stand your ground. I can't sing. Oh my God, where's my voice?
It's in there. Don't worry, it's in there.
He's a composer, musician, child author, teacher, and actor. Born in North Carolina, taught himself to play piano and start writing songs at the age of 14. I love it. Has released several CDs to his credit. A member of a band called Rollover. He has appeared in film, TV, commercials. He even was on Spencer for Hire. Woo!
That was way
He
back.
also has opened for acts like Taj Mahal, Gil Scott-Heron. Oh my goodness. Let me introduce to you Kemp Harris.
Hi,
Thank
good to
you.
see you again. And you didn't mention that we are both named Willie.
Willie.
Yes, we both have that name too.
Well, Kemp is kind of your stage name.
No, it's actually my middle name.
It's your middle name,
so it's
you're Willie Kemp Harris.
yeah.
Okay,
Like
that's right.
Legal.
Because when I met you, you was telling me that.
Yeah.
I remember now. You know, senior moments. What can I say? Good to have you. We talked about having you on my show.
Mm-hmm.
And
We
now
met at
you're here.
we met at the Middle East for
Yes.
that event, which was a really good evening. So I'm glad I met you there. Now here I am.
See?
Yeah.
Networking?
I know.
Maybe I'll be in one of those singing or...
I'll put you in a video if I do one.
Video doing that bouncing, you think? But let's talk. Let's talk
Okay.
about your music. Tell me about your music.
Well, I've always been writing. I had that usual thing, you start out in the gospel choir when you're a kid. And so I did that for a while. The first time I played in the club, my mother said to me, now you know, you're not playing for the Lord anymore. So when you're in these clubs, don't let nobody slip drugs in your pocket. I was like, Ma, you have to slip money in their hand. She just thought they walk up and slip stuff. So I said, no, I will be fine. I'm going to be good. So I've always been a writer and always writing songs. I tend to try to write from a political, sometimes a social consciousness point of view. I think that, and I don't want to seem like one of those old fogies who says, music today, what is it about? Because there's a place for all kinds of music, but I really do try to make some social commentary, like with the piece I just did.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I was listening to this story on NPR about the Stand Your Ground law that happens.
Oh, isn't it
not
wild?
only in Florida, it's in a lot of places.
It's here in Boston.
No.
You got to read it. You got to read the laws. It has a
I'm
little
scared to make people nervous now. But I was
Have a little
listening
bit
to
of
that.
it.
Yeah, I was listening to that, and I thought I wanted to write a piece that kind of had that 60s civil rights protest feel to it, so you could almost do that at any rally. So I wrote that piece and just kind of stomped it out that would be the kind of thing that you could spontaneously do with a group of people, without having to have musicians play it at all. But I just kind of liked the message of the piece, and I wanted people to think about that. So I think part of an artist's job is to reflect back at the community a little bit and sort of turn the mirror back. So it's like, I write love songs too, beautiful little things. I do that too. But thanks. but I do try to reflect, some of the things that are happening politically, socially, what's happening in the community. Turn it back a little bit so you have something else to think about.
So talk about the music industry. Because you have kids coming out today, and you have you when you were coming up. Do you see like the difference, a comparison? I know it is, but maybe talk about a little bit about that.
I think it's so heavily produced right now, and that it's more that you would have a product, and then some producer will find the group to do it. I think that it used to be a lot more organic. And that you would, someone's talent would be, maybe you heard them in a club. Maybe, I don't know how it worked, but it didn't seem as corporate as it is right now. A good friend of mine did a lot of production for Rihanna for her first 10 albums. And I was like, hey, could you help me out? He was like, you don't have a weave and you don't have, so I was like, okay, well,
You're a
but
loss. Maybe I could.
you can come with me the next time. But there is that sense that it's much harder to break in. But the other part though is that the whole YouTube thing and social networking, you can go at it in that way and sort of have your music put out there in ways that you never could before. So what I hope to do is like do a video with that piece, and I would just like to be in people's minds as they listen to stories about this. But I tend to take on a lot of issues in that way and just sort of write about them or reflect what I'm thinking. So
Now you thinking that you did that as a younger, or you did that kind of reflecting as you got older? Because you're probably younger writing was what was it like?
Yeah, it wasn't as political. It was more the oh baby, I love you, you love me. It's all the love. Oh, you left me, I want you to come back. Oh, help me, Lord, help me get somebody. But then I went into, as I got older, I just started getting a little bit more, and then I will sometimes go in a very sort of like sarcastic kind of way of writing about government, and so I'll just sort of take on various sort of subjects, and depending on how I feel, it might be a very serious piece, or it might be like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like look at how does government work? What's happening in this country of ours right now? Let me sing about that and have a good time. So
now I know that you do a lot of things. You are a storyteller.
I am.
You're an actor.
Yep.
You've been in Spencer for Hire.
Well, I did. I know that's where I got my SAG card. Yeah. But you know what though? It's funny about that. You will never see that episode because I had the role of the medic. It was supposed to be like Spencer got shot. I would show up in the ambulance and I was going to bandage him up and put the needle in his arm or whatnot. There was a snowstorm going, and we never got to film the segment. But when the credits run, it says Kemp Harris, the medic, never showed up, but I got my SAG card. But all these different things. Yeah, I taught kindergarten, first grade for 38 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I sort of retired, but the school where I was, they liked me, so I kind of go in and do subbing now.
Yeah.
But if you work with kids that long, I think they rub off on you in a very special kind of way. So there was a lot of creativity that I got from them, and I think they sort of kept me sort of youthful for a while.
So talk about the weaving.
The weaving.
The singing and was a weekend and
no,
and
it was horrifying. I was that kindergarten.
We have young kids coming up,
okay.
And they think,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, teaching was great for me because I loved doing it. You had time in the summer, you had time in the year, but I was that teacher who was doing some theater, doing some commercial work, teaching every day, and I was doing this all at the same time. So I'd have a rehearsal like in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, say. Kids got out at 12:15. I had them bundled up in the wintertime because I had to dash. So I bundled them up at like 12:10 to 12:05 because I had to go right away, and they'd be like, "We're hot." I was like, "Just unzip a little bit, but y'all gotta go because I've got to make rehearsal in 40 minutes."
Now these are your own kids?
No, just kids I was teaching.
Kids.
Yeah, no, then in class I had 20 kids bundled up in the middle of winter, like hot and wait, because trying to get out on time, but I had to make it. But so I did that. I was playing in clubs at the same time, so I had this weird schedule of 6 days a week in the theater, Monday night off. You're teaching Monday, so you really had no night off at all. So I was just like going at it. And the kids in my class, they thought that, well, don't all teachers do commercials and do theater and do? I remember doing the play Hair when I had some, and we didn't do the nude scene, but I had a lot of swearing and a lot of vulgarity. And I come out to do the show one night, and there like a bunch of my kids with their parents in the front row, and I was like, oh. I knew what I had to say, so the next day in school, I was like, that's theater. And I never use those words when I'm not in the theater, So yeah, they kind of all, crossed over. But it was good, it was good. It was a nice way to be very well-rounded, and I was getting to do all the things I wanted to do. Yeah.
Now, which passion, and I'm saying, which one you love that you would do if they didn't pay you?
The music.
The music.
The music, yeah. Because I find even when I walked in here tonight and met one of your producers, or re-met one of your producers, that we had worked years ago on a project that she was producing, and I'd written music for it. So music has always been the thing. WGBH, Matt Zeliger, this documentary on this inventor.
And you wrote the music for it?
Well, some of the music for that, yeah.
Oh,
so it was really cool. I walked in, I was like, I know you. But I get these weird commissions. Like I had 2 friends who were in the Alvin Ailey Company.
Yeah.
They've gone on since to form their own company called Complexions, and they are stunning. Wow. But when they were in the Ailey Company, they would stay at the house, and they came. And so one day, the choreographer Dwight says, "Listen, I've got this piece. I don't have music for it. Do you want to try something?" They went out to go to rehearsal, because I was like, well, try something. And one afternoon, I'd come up with this piece called If Loneliness Was Black, based on some of his poetry. And they premiered it in New York at City Center. It's just piano and my voice. So they're going to come to the Wang Center. So my mom's one of those religious gals. So I said, Ma, I wrote this piece for Alvin Ailey, and I want you to come. So my mother, being the church girl, she said, well, I saw that commercial on television, all that running and jumping. Can they dance? I was like...
She didn't think that was dancing.
I was like, yes. So I made sure she went on a night of revelations. because I knew that would get her. But I get these weird commissions, and you just throw yourself into it, and you keep working.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about some other interesting things you.
Well, I don't want to do the plug thing, but I did. Well, I did this.
Shamefully plug.
I did this book for kids, and I'll give it to you. And it's this book called Snow, and there's a song that goes with that. And again, what happened was, I was doing poetry with my class, and we wrote this poem. We wrote. I was kind of guiding them along to do the poem, and we finished writing this poem about snow. And one of the kids said, "You ought to make this into a book." And I thought, okay. And her mom happened to work at Simon Schuster. So she said, "We will help you."
Simon and Schuster.
Yeah.
He
Well,
said that so lightly.
Well, no, they didn't publish me, but she gave me all the help I needed. So we self-published that. But I travel as a storyteller. And so I do festivals, I go to schools, libraries, and I do my own original stories. And so I just find that with all these various hats that I wear, it's somehow or another I've managed to get to do them all. My only worry is that one day I might show up at the wrong gig in the wrong stuff. Like I might think I'm going to a nightclub to do like something with smoky adults and wearing leather pants and yelling at people and doing the blues, and it's really a kid's gig. So I make sure I'm in the right place when I head out. But it's been good. It's been good. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Is there something else you want to shamelessly plug? Feel free.
Well,
You
okay.
have a couple of minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll shamelessly plug. So,
you know
what? I'm not one of those techie people.
You
like,
just
I don't
can't tell
think
them how much it costs. They have
I'm
to
not
come
gonna
and
tell them
get
that.
it.
I don't have like a website.
You don't have a website?
I did, but
What
I
is
don't know
that
who
now?
manages it, and I don't know what happens with it. And I'm old school. My phone still flips. It's terrible. But I think you can go to KempHarris.com, and you can
Okay.
find stuff about me.
Okay.
And I have 2 CDs.
Okay.
On iTunes.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook.
And it's
I don't
not
wanna
under
people friend me.
Willie.
It's under Kemp
Kemp.
Harris. Yeah, although I do like the Willie thing. I do
love
like
the Willie.
Yesterday I went to dinner in Harvard Square, and the waiter's name was Willie. And I said, "You know what? You're the second Willie that I've met."
Was it a girl?
No.
It was a guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But see, that means you're the only cute one.
They-
See what I'm saying?
I'm not shaming.
All right. So, should I give you, you want to hold these up to give me a shameless plug?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll do a shameless
We want to
plug.
do a shameless plug. And talk about where you will be appearing.
Well, I'm working on a new band, so we'll be playing. We've played in Riles and Johnny D's in Boston before, but I'm starting a new band, so I'll be playing with the new band soon. I don't have the dates yet, but I am doing a solo concert out in Waterbury, Vermont. And I'm going to be at this congregational church with a big grand piano and just me and a piano having a good time. I'd love to come back here one time with a piano and just play.
You absolutely can. You don't have to ask. Just tell me when.
Okay.
That music was good.
Thank
I
you
was
so
having a
much.
good time.
Thank you so much.
I'm like, too bad you can't hum something going out. So we didn't even practice that, right?
I'll tell you, on my second disc, my mother was always singing gospel around the house, and she did the song "Didn't It Rain?" And so when I did this album, I said, Ma, I learned that from you when I was a kid. I would love to have you and my aunt sing that with us. And she came on the album and sang it. So, we could do a little a cappella of that.
Go.
You want to hear some of that?
Yeah.
Well, my mother's version is better.
Close out.
All right, I'll just keep doing while you close out. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You tell me, didn't it rain? Children talking about rain. Oh my Lord, didn't it rain? Didn't it rain? Didn't it? Oh my Lord, didn't it rain?
This is Kemp Harris, and I want to thank him for coming today.
There was no land, no
And I want to thank Brenda Sue, her book. Check it out. Definitely pick up a copy from her. The next show is April 29th, same time, same station. Get a copy of my book, Make Truth a Habit. And you know what? Come on up.
Talking about rain, oh my Lord.
Was turned around. It was your son murdered 'cause of standing your ground. Standing your ground. Standing your ground. Another mother's son lying dead on the ground. Went searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black boy murdered, standing your ground. Ooh. Oh, well, oh. Big man, big gun, big ego to fill. He don't even need a reason, got a license to kill. How many till we come around? Another black boy is murdered, standing your ground. Standing your ground, standing your ground. Another mother's son is lying dead on the ground. When searching for justice, there was none to be found. Another black